A mild spell continues across the UK and Ireland in the next few days, but it will be rather wet and windy over the next couple of days at least, with the wind speeds getting a little bit higher. High temperatures today though, 14 degrees in Dublin, of course in the Republic of Ireland, and many other locations in Ireland were the warmest places today. Newquay the warmest in England at 13. Cairnwell was the lowest temperature overnight at -6 in the Scottish Highlands, also -6 at Lecht and -5 at Strathallan. Looking towards the forecast and the actual advisories in effect right now, it's a lot of wind related warnings. There's certainly no cold on the forecast, at least no freezing conditions, but we are getting some high winds in the next 24 hours in all of those yellow areas. So taking a look over the next few hours then, over tonight you'll see that big band of rain moving through Scotland and smaller little areas further south. Most areas will get fairly wet. 12 degrees the low in a few places in southern England, a little bit cooler in Scotland, but a mild night generally, especially for the time of year. Moving into Wednesday, a lot of rain continuing further north, and it is a north-south divide in terms of temperatures. North of that rain band, which gets a little bit more chopped up later on in the day, high temperatures will be struggling a little bit. Only 4 degrees in parts of northern Scotland. Dundee maybe getting to 5 or 6, but then just south of there, across Glasgow and Edinburgh, 10 degrees, and getting up to 11 or 12 in parts of northern England. In Ireland, temperatures looking decent there as well, partly cloudy conditions with scattered showers, and that's the same case too really for large parts of central England and Wales. Further south, a bank of cloud will keep things pretty gloomy in southern England along the coast, but the rain should stay off for most areas, apart from maybe a little bit here and there in the southwest, but most of the heavier rainfall remains on the European continent. But there is still that big bank of rain further north as well for northern England as we take a look at the wind charts, and you can see there that the stronger winds have left the area by then. It will still be quite breezy though, especially in the southern half of the country coming from the west. So this pattern continues for a little while, and then the next system looks like it's going to arrive soon as we get into Thursday morning, but a dry night for most of Great Britain, going down to 0 though in parts of Scotland, and then the next system moves in with that rainfall and quite heavy rainfall as well in some areas. This band really moving into the Scotland, to northern Scotland and the Western Isles there, and it'll be an extremely wet and gloomy day on Thursday, and temperatures will be struggling as well in some places. Further south it will be warmer once again, up to 10 degrees, double figures too, 11 degrees in Northern Ireland there, and across most parts of England. It will remain dry but very cloudy, 11 or 12 degrees the high, and it will be a bit drizzly in the south of England before that band really takes hold in the later part of the day, probably after sunset. Some parts of eastern England might just get away with actually a decent day, maybe a little bit of sunshine. 12 degrees the maximum in the southeast in London and Kent. So an interesting picture which continues there with no sign of a freeze, but look at those strong winds coming in on the southern side of that spiral system, that cyclonic system, packed with those winds, really buffeting the western coast of Ireland there on Thursday afternoon. Then it tucks in further towards the east and will affect the western part of Scotland overnight, but most of England and Wales will probably get away with things really after that initial band moves through, and it'll be a dry and clear night with temperatures falling to 3 degrees. Looking preliminarily into Friday, you can see here it's going to be a fairly decent day. Temperatures will be down a bit, partly cloudy with some drizzle in places, before that next band comes in from another windstorm that's going to be on the prowl. It is a pattern of windstorms at the moment, and mild conditions, a completely different story to what we were looking at just 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's all for now. We'll have another weather forecast later this week.